live as though you will die tomorrow, learn as though you will live forever. I think that's...
I think that one of the things that us Asians have been very good at is beating creativity out of our children. So what we do is we're so exam driven, and I think that we need to stop this now, because our whole approach to math and sciences is also frankly incorrect. We learn things that have answers. We don't think of it as something beautiful. And I did very well in the Asian system, and then I went to Harvard, rote learning my way all the way through. And there, I met some Eastern Europeans from Romania who are math Olympiads, and they looked at math and science as poetry, as something that you're arriving at. The truth was something you discover, that you work for, that you play with, not an answer. And that is the right way to look at engineering, that is the right way to look at science, that is the right way to look at humanity. We started encouraging our children to take arts and to take literature seriously, but also to learn math and science differently. We will then have the creative confidence to thrive in the emerging 21st century.
Fantastic. Rahul, you're teaching machines. I wonder whether some of the skills, you thought about some of the skills that the machines need in terms of having that sense of humanity that Ayesha just talked about. Do we have to give them an ethical framing?
100%. I mean, I think one of the biggest issues that's coming up right now is bias in our technology. Right, a lot of the algorithms that are built have this inherent bias that's being put in by the developers behind the algorithms. So, for example, I know you're a big supporter of women and like girls who want to be the next CEO. But if you go to Google search or Bing search and look at if you just search what does a CEO look like, you'll most likely see images of white males. Or what does a research scientist, or what does a scientist look like? You'll either see crazy people who look like Einstein, or again, white male scientists. But for little girls growing up in Asia, women of color, when they go and do these searches, they don't see themselves as becoming those people in the future. So how do you change that? How do you design algorithms so that when I do a search like that, I'm getting a wide variety of results, so I feel empowered to actually say I can be one of those people in the future. And that's something that you don't learn in school, that you won't learn in any of the online courses, that no one at work will teach you, but it's conversations like these where we really need to discuss how do we teach people these skills that we learn from our parents growing up, but then sort of forget as we go through our education system and our workforce.
Great, thank you. Now this is, of course, a forum about enterprise for society. And what responsibilities does an enterprise for society have? And I think one of the very clear messages we've just had there from Rahul is the importance of those companies thinking about what is not just the assumptions of the logarithms behind the AI, but also what some of the ethical framing that we give for the systems that we are developing and we're hoping to make great businesses from. Now, I think we have one or two questioners already lined up over there. I can't see if we have anybody on the other side of the room yet. If we do, if anyone could wave. Yes, there's a lady in white who's going to come to the microphone, okay. Do we have some other folk who are being terribly polite and reticent, but you're going to have to make your move fairly quickly? There's a gentleman over there. You need to, don't just take a photograph, sir. It's not a selfie time now. Let's have some participation. Great. Okay, so could you say who you are and quick question or quick comment?
Right. Hello, awesome people. My name is Ryan, and I'm super inspired by your optimism. I'm wondering, to what is your commitment? in contributing to building the future where no one is left behind, that maybe the audience can also take away?
Thank you very much. Can I have the lady behind, please?
Hello, my name is Julian, and I'm a designer for the development sector. So we talk about the need to reimagine jobs in the future, that people need to learn new skills. But there's a danger of maintaining the thinking that human beings have to labor to deserve a decent quality of life. So my question is more of what changes to the economic system are necessary in this new tech context that we're having? Who will own the robots, the patents, the processes, in order to ensure that we make the most of our chance to change the status quo.
Great again, thank you. And the lady over on the other microphone.
Hi, my name is Ria. So I'm working on a health tech startup that's implementing an AI-based service for managing chronic conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and heart disease. So my question really is about the ecosystem. Like, so far, how receptive have been the people in terms of accepting these AI-based solutions? And what is the biggest roadblock for massive implementation of these AI-based solutions?
Great, thank you. And do we have another question? Yes, the gentleman in red and the gentleman who's already there. Yes, please, you're already there, and then we'll take the gentleman in red straight afterwards.
Hi, my name is Rahman. I'm from Brunei. I run a startup that specializes in building MVPs, right? We recently ran an experiment with one of our clients, right? It's a portal where people apply for jobs. It's something like monster.com, but it has some special values. When we show a person's photo as a part of their profile, if a person is a male white or a white female, what the recruiters naturally do is white male and white female get more likes than the people of color or people who look Asian and all that, right? And we are working, we are doing some prototypes in the AI and machine learning and data analytics space. My question is there a guideline that we can follow to train the AI to be more inclusive, to accommodate women, to accommodate people of color and all that? Is there a guideline where we can look up to, or is it really up to individual developers to come up with it? Thank you.
Great question again. Gentleman in red.
Hi, my name is Weston. I used to work in a Bitcoin startup based in Beijing. So my question here is, earlier you mentioned how the Asian perspective of mathematics is truly about finding answers, whereas Eastern Europeans see it as poetry. This is a very deep sentiment that I don't think can be communicated in one sentence. So my question is, when did you realize that your field has become more like a poet, more like art? And how can you explain it in a way for us to understand how we can see our own technical fields as art and poetry instead of just finding answers? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So some great questions there. Just to explain, I suggested to our distinguished panel that rather than everyone answering every question, even if it's already been said, that it would be great if people could concentrate on which are the questions which they are most excited by. And then if we have any orphan questions, at the end I will ask somebody to pick up. So we've got the echoing of the Sustainable Development Goals. How do we make sure in this brave new world no one is left behind? We have, picking up on Rahul's point about universal basic income, the question about what kind of changes would make a new economic system or a modified economic system fairer in the context of all of the new technologies that we're talking about. We've got the biggest roadblocks. We've got this question about can we maybe take some of the existing HR practices about blind selection, so we don't have those actual or implicit biases. Can we take some of that and apply it into AI applications? And that's just one example of a wider point about what do we already know and do we can stretch and develop an AI application in terms of doing it responsibly and ethically. And how on earth do we make artificial intelligence more like art than science? I never imagined we'd be getting that question now. So who's going to kick off? Ayesha, do you want to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that I thought I can read any question, or do you want me to take it? Oh, okay. So one of the first questions was really about what are each of us doing to make sure in our work that nobody's left behind. And I think that's a really good question because it kind of puts everybody on the spot. It puts somebody like me who's going around giving speeches and people like you who are coming around listening to speeches, puts us on the spot, right? A little bit. And as an entrepreneur and a mom, I'm really busy because I have to kind of, make a success out of my startup and I have 2 children. But a long time ago, I was truly moved by the discrimination that I saw against a young girl who came up to me and wanted to put together a robot that I was volunteering at a hackathon. And her mother put her aside and put her son in front of me instead. And I felt really bad about that. And I felt that this was systemic. And that's why I started 21st Century Girls, which is to involve and include young girls in this new world of technology and artificial intelligence. And I couldn't do it without the volunteers who helped me, and we all do it, in our spare time, which we don't have much of, and we make a small dent. And I think that's all that matters for all of us. I don't need to be in some major magazine about my little dent that I make, but if each of us does something small, maybe do a little tutoring on the side or help somebody else, I think we can make a big difference. And I really like that we put each other on the spot because only together can we make a better society.
That's really echoing very much what the Vice President said this morning, I think, isn't it? About one village, one individual, one problem at a time. Kathy, do you want to come in on one of the questions?
Ayesha is telling the story. I was thinking about my own story, just on the spot. I'm sitting here. I'm privileged to be sitting here as in your speech, but I was not from a privileged family. I was actually born in the mountains. My parents decided to come to the city when I was 6. I was denied by all the elementary schools in Chengdu because I didn't have this thing called hukou, which is in China, it's called residence permit. So I was denied to the school. That's actually how I became a chess player because I couldn't go to school, thank God. So I remember my dad said, "Boy, if you really want to go to school," so at that time my dream was to go to school. My dad said, "If you really want to go to school, you can become a national chess champion. Maybe no one will ask you about hukou," and that's how I did. So to think back, I was just saw that. Just now I saw that moment. The first time I was standing in front of the Forbidden City in Beijing. As a young girl, it's beautiful, it's magnified, but yet the world looks so distant. I could never imagine this world is relevant to me as someone who was denied everywhere at a little girl. But today, I never feel the world is so connected because the future is like within your grasp, and the next opportunity is somehow within the distance. But what has changed? I think 2 things have changed. Education has changed my life. By becoming the national chess champion, even though it was not that easy, it's not that hard, but it's not that easy, but give me a chance to be educated. And technology giving me a chance to be connected. So I guess that is the thing that we think we should all pay forward to give that little thing, that little chance, because everybody just need a little chance, like how I did, how I was given. So that will be my attitude and also my answer to this.
I can ask you to pick up one of the other questions, please.
Sure. So I want to tackle the question about the resumes, just because it does touch on bias so much. I don't think it's on individual developers to really solve this problem, because you could build a solution that solves a specific problem, but someone next to you isn't going to really think about it. The truth is, those biases those bias against people of color do exist. Everyone in this room knows about them. what can we do as a whole to speak about it, to engage in dialogue with people who are in place to make those decisions, right? How do you engage in a conversation where you call someone out when you see a bias taking place and say, that's wrong, this needs to change. From an algorithmic perspective, when you're creating your data sets, that's where you really need to pay attention to where those biases are seeping in. So when you do have like 100,000 resumes with pictures, you need to make sure that you have enough samples representing everyone. Once you get to the algorithm part, you can make small adjustments here and there, but if your underlying data has bias, no algorithm will ever be able to solve that. So that's just something to keep in mind as you build your solution.
And Erika, do you want to question about how do we personally model contributions to ensuring no one gets left behind? So let's take that one and then let's try and do justice to some of the other questions.
Yeah, so thank you, David. I'm always all very passionately for inclusivity. Some of you may already know that I was in Singapore for 6 years, 5.5 years actually to be exact. And we were doing a lot of research on smart nations. And then I look at the Philippines, right? And you have all these issues, and yet I was there, and I really felt like, this doesn't feel good. Because I felt the need to really spread that knowledge, right? I actually came from Maguindanao, that's down south of the Philippines. Without the science scholarship, I wouldn't have been able to study in Manila. And I was there during the war, when I was during my graduation. So it also gave me a perspective that government should really jump in. We really need to give opportunities to women, to those not so privileged kids, not in the Philippines, for example, those who are not staying in Metro Manila. There are a lot of brilliant people out there. We just need to let them know that these things exist. Now on the industries. So we always meet with conglomerates, big companies, but then there's also the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. They are all aware of AI. But then they ask, how can we use AI in our own industries? We don't have enough resources, right? This is what I love about Singapore, A-Star in particular, because it really provides ways for small and medium enterprises to go into the field of data science and AI. It's very expensive. And this is what we hope to do here. And hopefully we can convince the government, especially the Department of Trade and Industry, to really work closely with industries and with academic institutions like the AIM to empower even those industries that don't have much resources to go into data science, to go into artificial intelligence. That way, we make sure that no one is really left behind.
That's really interesting. So I think what I'm hearing there is you saying that particularly for big businesses who have some knowledge of, let's say, IA, that they can contribute proactively to helping their supply chain, first of all, but maybe then also other parts of their influence chains, which might be chambers of commerce where they're active, or employers' federations, or a particular trade association. But also you're suggesting, I think, Erika, there's a responsibility on businesses to be advocates to governments to make sure they design industrial strategies that are preparing us for the future and not for the economy of today and yesterday. Kathy, you have lots of different roles, including with the World Economic Forum. So I guess you've been party to some discussions about some of the question that we had from over there about what changes do we need to make to the economic system to ensure that in this new world we can ensure that there is a degree of inclusion and fairness, and it doesn't actually lead to greater inequality.
Well, I would like to take a moment to talk about the future of the work. I think earlier one lady or gentleman mentioned that the future will work, how the future work will look like. One of the things, actually, one of the kind of a general AI technologies or some of the companies are applying to identify what are the jobs will be replaced or can be replaced by machines is this called 1 second or in the sequence of 1 second. And so how to understand is that is if a task or if a decision can be made within 1 second, or can be made in the sequence of 1 second. Imagine, let's say a security guard and there's a trunk approaching the factory and the security guard spot that car. So see a car coming approaching the factory 1 second, and see that's a strange car you don't recognize 1 second. Take a look at the car plate 1 second, and see the face 1 second, make a decision, oh this is probably a dangerous car, or this is an identified car, 1 second. So those jobs, generally speaking, it's not that precise, are replaceable or can be replaced by machines. So some of the companies are using that to identify, okay, what are the next job markets, what are the next market to be disrupted if the decisions can be identified. So I think that also shows us the future of the work, or how, or we talk about education, how we teach our kids because they were gonna grow up in a world completely different than we are. So instead of teaching them how to make fires with stones, they are gonna grow up facing to compete with machines that are gonna take away the 1 second job. So that's one of the thoughts I was thinking. Also, second, I think to take that attitude, take that inspiration from this morning, one problem at a time, one village at a time, one community at a time, because we're easy to get lost if we get too big, too high level, and too big picture. Of course, those are important, but as an entrepreneur, I'm used to have my feet on the ground, deeply on the ground. So to me, I think it's most of the time I was thinking how I can include innovation, how I can include inclusive growth, how I can include more growth into my own company, and how myself can do that. And also, instead of also one of the things I find it very, very important, at least in the company, is how you actually face challenge and be challenged, how you foster that culture, and also, so I think that's the solution lies in the everyday, daily routine work, every small decision you make in your life or in your own organization.
Thank you very much.